you want to unlock the ability to play lightning fast guitar, there are two things that you absolutely need to know. And although it's typically metal and rock players who want to play extremely fast, having the ability to unlock your speed, of course, is applicable for all styles. And as someone who's been playing guitar for over 17 years, I've definitely spent a ton of time learning the wrong techniques, but eventually stumbling upon the right technique. So I'm going to try my best to save you years of frustration. So tip number one is ensuring that you have the right picking technique and also that you're using the right type of guitar pick. A lot of metal and rock players will suggest that you want to use a very sharp guitar pick, something like this. And although a pick like this does have its pros as far as having very strong articulation, it's also extremely easy to get caught in between the strings and actually slow yourself down because the tip is so sharp. And instead of using a guitar pick that is super pointy, you could also try something like this. This is a Jazz 2 that actually sanded down and rounded the tip. Every time you play from one string to the next, you have to cross a small no man's land in between the strings where you're not actually playing anything. And although that transition happens very quickly, we're still dealing with milliseconds. And if we're trying to play extremely fast, it actually does matter. And so if we're crossing the strings with a very sharp guitar pick, it's very easy to dip down into that no man's land and then get stuck on the next string. However, if the tip of the pick is rounded, it's much more forgiving when we go from one string to the next. And if you don't believe me, if you're using a pick that looks like this, try strumming with the corner of the pick and feel the difference. What you're going to notice is that the pick glides across the strings and you can play much faster. However, it's going to be at the cost of articulation. Your notes are not going to be nearly as crisp and articulate as if you use the pointy end of your pick. However, the speed is absolutely there. So instead, you want to try and strike a balance and have a semi-rounded but semi-sharp edge to your pick. Tip number two is something called the picking window. Imagine that we were able to zoom in on a guitar string and it's placed right here between my fingers. If our goal is to try and cross the string as fast as possible, then if we have a picking window that looks like this, then this is going to be much slower than if we were having a picking window that looks like this. In short, we want to try to focus on keeping our picking motion as small and compact as possible. This will ensure that we can maximize our speed and there's no wasted movements. Also, by doing this will prevent pick dip. All that is when your pick goes down in between the strings when you're trying to cross them. If you have a very small picking window, it's much harder for that to actually happen.